This is the typical environment that I'm using for recording my tutorials. It's horizontal and the resolution is 2K. And now I'm going to switch, and I have switched to a vertical format. This is a typical configuration that I use to do shorts for YouTube or for TikTok. Let's look how we can easily pass from one format to the other one. If now I want to have a vertical format, it's quite simple. I go into settings, I select video, and we see here we have the canvas size, which is 1920 by 1080. So I'm going to see if there are other resolutions, but we see that they are all in the span of horizontal ones. So to have a vertical one, it's really simple. I simply key in the value I would like to have, 1080 by 1920. And I already have now the vertical format. But there is still one thing that I need to check, because this is the displayed output, what we see, but you see here below the output resolution has been changed to something totally different. So I'm going to select the same for the output resolution. With that, I'm sure that when I will do recording of my session, that I really have it also in the vertical format. If now I want to go back to the horizontal format, it's quite simple. I go back into the settings, and in there I will go and change back to the value it had before. If now I frequently need to switch from the horizontal to the vertical one and vice versa, I always have to go and change the configuration. So for this reason, OBS is providing us profiles in which we can store all the configuration for one setting set. Switching from horizontal to vertical format, this was an example. There are many other situations where you are going to change the settings. For example, if you are recording in 720p or 2K or 4K or 8K, or for example, you are going to do a settings for a live on YouTube or a live on Facebook or on Twitch. For all of those configurations, you will need different settings. So instead of doing them every time, using profiles is really convenient, since you will save in each profile the different configuration. I have here my environment for the tutorials, and when I go within profiles, we see that I have different profiles that are defined. Simply by clicking on vertical format, we see immediately the change, and I'm in that different setting. I can now go back by going into profile and choosing again my profile for tutorials. To create a profile, it's simple. We select new. I'm going to give it the name vertical format new. And then I say OK, and this will launch the wizard. And I will optimize this for recording, and it will give me a frame size by 1920 by 1080. I have no other choices, so I'm going to choose this. And here again I say next, and I will now have to go and modify the settings to have the vertical format. So I go into video, what we did before, and I'm going to key in the 1080 by 1920. This is defined here, and since I want to have the same ratio for the output, I'm also selecting it at the same time. Like that, I can say apply, and now I have my vertical format. I have now into profile, we see vertical format new, and the previous one was named untitled. And we can switch back and forth really easily between the two. Going into our profiles, we have the current one here, which is defined as untitled. So we are going to rename it, and it will be tutorial format. So if I go, I have tutorial format or the vertical format. So now I can also duplicate a profile. This is the case when, for example, I have my tutorial format with a lot of configurations elements, and I don't want to rekey, or I have just a few that are going to change. For this, I can say duplicate, and it's going to ask me for a profile name. So I'm entitling that one vertical format. And of course, since it's a duplicate, nothing changed. So I have now to go into the settings to the spots where I have things to change. And it's what I'm currently doing here. And I can say apply. And I have now the same settings that I'm using for the vertical format. So I have tutorial format and vertical format. That's with what I want to work. You see that by duplicating, if you have just a few changes, then it's way faster. It's way faster to go that way. Within our profiles, we have the remaining vertical format new, which is the same function as vertical format. So we are going to remove it, and for that we selected it and then we key in remove. We are warned whether we really want to do that, and simply say yes. You can copy files, you can duplicate them. This is really convenient. There is one point that we haven't discussed, and I'm sure that you noticed it. It's that our scenes here, they don't exploit really the vertical format. This means that when you are changing the format of the canvas or some other parts of the settings, you might need to adapt the scenes. So of course, if now you are going to adapt the scenes and you switch back to the tutorial one, the horizontal one, they won't be adapted. So it's why we need to have also a scene collection that matches the change into the profile. Like that, we can at any time go to the scene collection and select, for example, the vertical scene, which is what I have right now. So to adapt the scene, I'm going to add a new element. I'm going to choose as a source a media source, and I will name it Milky Way. I will browse, and I will take a video in vertical format. I say OK, and now I can transform it fit to screen. Like that, I have my Milky Way that is present. So now you see that you have scene collections that have to match what you have within the profiles. Like that, you can adapt. You can easily play with scenes and profile to create an environment that is adapted to what you want to show. Now your profile, you can save them by using the export function, and you are going to export them on your drive. I'm creating a new folder that I call OBS, within which I will create another folder that I will name profiles. Like that, I know where my profiles will be. I select the folder, and this is it. It has been now exported to that folder. To export your profile files as scene collection files is a really good habit. in case of you have a hard disk crash, an SSD disk crash, or if you are moving to a new computer, or you are transferring some of the profiles to another laptop, or you are exchanging with some friends or colleagues. These are really good habits to have. With that, you got quite a lot of elements to do with OBS. For me, it's a pleasure to share those knowledges. Please subscribe to the channel, and I'm looking forward for another session with you. Bye-bye.